so here we go. Okay, so again, so I'm going to do this drawing. I already have my windows open, so it's a little challenging because normally I would close everything and start it again. So what I'm going to do here is I'll go to I'll make a new drawing. So I'll go File, New, and then I've already set it up with the startup where it comes up as my quick setup. And what I want to do is I want to make sure here that I type in, click the architecture version. And this part doesn't really make that much difference, to be honest with you. So it's going 60 feet by 40 feet, finish. And so I'm going to turn off this grid here. And what I want to do here is I'm just going to build this. And I'm going to do it kind of with training wheels here because I'm going to use the multi-line tool. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to build this overall shape. And I'm going to start it with what it gives me here. So I know here there's no dimension on the left side, but there is on the right side. And actually, these walls are not parallel. So let's go over here. I'm going to type in 2 feet. And then I'll come up. This says 3 feet. So I'm just going to really quickly build this to these specifications. And then this one would be 14 feet 3 inches. All right. And then I'll come up here. This is 25 feet dash 5. Enter. And then I'll come over 35 feet. Make sure that I'm drawing this perpendicular. So you want to make sure when you're moving your mouse that you're on that green line, polar snap. And that was 35 feet. And then I'm going to come down 25 feet. And I'm going to come over 13 feet 9 inches. And then I don't know what how far to come down, but I do know that it's a door here, so it's going to be snap at this intersection. So I'm actually coming down 13 feet 5 inches, and then I'll come over 2 feet. So, all right, enter. Okay, so I did this because I'm going to be drawing this with my walls, and this will just save me a lot of time. So let's go ahead while I'm here, and let's just draw the dimensions of this. So I know that I'm going to have to change the dimension style because right now it's in it's just regular old my regular dimensions that I want to make this architecture style. So let's go ahead to format. We're going to go to dimension style, modify, and there's 3 things I'm going to need to do. So the primary units are going to go to architecture, and then the arrows, I'm going to change this one to the architecture tick, and then I want to make sure that the scale is increased, and I've done this before. It's at 30, and say okay, set current and close. And let's see what happened here. Okay, so that looks good. And so let's just very quickly, I shouldn't say quickly, but I'm going to go rather quickly, just verify my dimensions. So I'm not wasting time later fixing things. 25 feet, enter. So if I just select enter, it'll do the last command. Enter twice. This is 2 feet. And, I should then come here. This should also be 2 feet. Oh. Come on, why is it not being nice to me? There we go. All right. Oh, it's not liking me for some reason. That's okay. It's just funny. It's that 0, 0. It's just messing it up. So I can always move that if I want to. Okay, almost done here. And then I'll start building these walls. So I am doing this the way that the book does the dimensioning just to save myself time later. And I think I should be good here. All right, so everything looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and build these walls. So what I can also do, if you're so inclined, is you use the layers here. So you type in layer, and what I can do is with layers, I can then create new layers. So I hover over here, and I would say new layer, and I would say construction line, for example. So typically you would do walls, and then you would do, you could do doors. I'm just going to do a couple of them, and I'll just do dimensions also. And what I'll do, what you can do is turn something off, and then just to verify it's working right here, I'll just select all my dimensions and right click and say properties, and I'll say layer, and I'll just put it in the dimensions, and they should all disappear. All right, and so, and this is my construction line, so I could do the same with this one. That's probably going to be a dimension line, so layer. All right, so let's turn them all back on. And then I'm going to work in my walls here, so let's turn that on. Okay, so walls is the active layer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my multi-line style, and let's go new. We're doing a 5-inch wall, so I'll type in wall, continue, and let's make this, this is going to be a 5-inch wall, so the offset is going to be 2.5 and minus 2.5. Right. Okay, all right, and let's call this 5-inch wall. And then what I need to do is always hit set current, otherwise it won't, you'll get some funky wall. It's not actually the one you made, so set current. All right, and say, okay. Now what I'll do is I'll go to draw, multi-line, excuse me. And so what you see here is this justification, and it's really important that you understand how this works. Essentially what it is if it's, you either, when the line is, when you draw the wall, it either goes to the top of the line at the 0, which is kind of dead center, or the bottom. It's also left, center, and right. So in sequence here. So you want to play around with it. So for example, let's just see what happens if I go top and I go here for my wall. You notice it's starting from the top. Now, if you see, this is actually a problem because my wall, I'm actually making this wrong. So there's some things I can do. For example, you can go in, I'm going to just do this and fix it, push enter. You can go in and change it to, this case would be bottom, and there would fit, right? And then I could start building the wall, and I would just do the T and make that work. But so let's go ahead. We know it's the bottom. So let's start that again. I'll go draw, and I'll go to multi-line, and then I'm going to set my justification, and we said it was bottom, and then let's see what happens here, right? So what I'll do now is I'll just really, I spent all that time, I just have to click around this to build my wall, the overall wall. And there is a, sorry, there is a, I got this little thing in my way. There is a door here that I've got to make an account for, so I'll come down and I'll stop there. Sorry about that. So let's do that again. Draw, multi-line. And let's just see if it has the memory. Nope. All right. Gotta be careful of that little, I'd probably get rid of that. It's in my way. So I'm gonna come over here, and then I'm gonna come down 1 foot, right? 1 feet, 1 foot, and I'll stop. And so push enter. Now, there are different ways to do it. I find it's easiest, especially if I have to make this dumb door anyway. Shouldn't say dumb, but to go ahead and just make the door here and come down 3 feet, and I'll rotate that later. So 3 feet, enter. And then I can start my wall there or come around the other way. So maybe I'll come around the back side. So we'll go draw multi-line, justification, bottom. Oh, actually, when you go left, it's different. So do that one more time. Justification, we're going to go top. So this is why I like to build these lines, because it just makes it easier when I build this. Otherwise, I find that I'm always having to do the math in my head, and I seem to sometimes mess it up, right? So then what I would do here is go to my layer. I'm going to go ahead and turn that construction line off because I don't need it, right? And so hopefully, if I turn it off, it should go away. Let's just make sure that the walls, see if I've done this right. So turn the wall off, turn current line off. All right, and then this should be, oh, I put on the dimension, silly me. Now I could just delete this at this point, but let's go ahead and put it into the construction line. I've turned it off, right? So then let's bring our wall back. All right, so that's good. So now what I would do is, I don't know how much I'm going to do of this. A couple of things I would tell you to do, for example, is I did make a window that's 5 foot, and I'll start to zoom in on this a little bit more. So let's take a look at this drawing, and it's a 5 foot window. So what I did is I built one, and honestly, it didn't give us that much information here. So I basically eyeballed it. It's 5 feet, and I know it's 5 inches. So I just kind of guesstimated what that is, and that's fine. So view. Okay, so that's that. And so what I did is when I built it, I just built it with a regular construction line. But then what you want to do is type in a group, and I typed in group. And so if you want ungroup, you just type in ungroup. And let's see, and there it is. So I typed in group and selected the objects, and it's a solid object, right? So then I just copied it into my drawing. So let's copy it into our drawing right now. And there it is. So I would paste it on there. So what I would do then is looking at these dimensions. I know that the center is 6 feet 6 inches. So there's a couple ways I can do it. I can do the construction lines, or another trick is just take your dimension tool and type in 6 feet dash 6 inches. Oh, 6 feet dash 6 inches. Enter, and then I can just come straight down, and I can work off that too. And so there's a 7 foot. So then what I would do is I would type in M for move, select my object, find the center of it, and I would come up from that point here, and hopefully it'll work. Straight up at that intersection. It's not being nicey nice, but hold on. All right, so follow that straight up. All right. Oh, it ungrouped. That's not good. All right, let that snap to the center. Okay, so that's the idea here with the windows. Copy, so paste that in there, and then you could just rotate it also if you need to. Obviously, you can either rotate it or you can in the properties you can change. You can also change the width of these things in the geometry. There's also little tricks you can do. If you see there, but let's just go ahead and rotate it. I'll have 2 of them here, and I can just cut paste them together. ROTATE, select the object. All right, and I'll paste one. So I'll just leave these over here and I can get to those later. Let's get this dimension over here. So I'm taking a lot of time on this. I should probably go a little faster, but that's okay. It's trying to teach at the same time. All right. Play nice with me. Why is that not? Dimension the same. Something's off here. I'm not sure what that is. Let's try that again. 7 feet 9. Anyway, I can go back and fix that if I need to. There it goes. All right, so 7 feet 9. All right, so you get the idea. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. So you know, you have to remember you've got these interior and exterior walls. So there's a lot of ways. I think sometimes what I do is I show you how to just make dimensions and off there. So you can either do that, or the other way we're doing it is we are working off the layers, and you can create, you know, construction lines, really whatever you need to do. So I'll just probably throw construction lines on here because I'm trying to do this rather quickly. I'm just going to do part of it. Let's just show you how I would do it. So I'll take a line here. It's 10 feet 3 inches. So one way to do it, we'll just go ahead. You could just figure out in your head where that is from 0 to 0. I think that's too much work, to be honest. So 10 foot 3. And so I could make a construction line if I wanted to. And then I could go to my my drawing, multi-line and justification. And I go top. And I come over, and then I would type in that distance is, it gets a little tricky here. That's 10 feet 7 inches, because I'd have to do the math in my head. 10 feet dash 10 feet dash 7. All right, and then I come up here. Boy, it's not telling me what that is, or is it? I'd have to do the math again, so I have to take all this math I'd have to do in my head. So what we have to do is take 13 feet 11 inches. And if I was a better instructor, I guess I'd have all this ready. 13 feet dash 11 minus, well, what I would take is, let's add 10 feet 7 inches plus 2 feet 8 inches. And that's going to give me 8 plus 7 is 12, 13, 14, 15, 5. So all these in my head. So you get the idea what we're doing. I think that's 13 feet 5 inches minus. So let's just go. I can always edit that later. We can work down the same thing. So there's that construction line. So I could go the draw multi-line. So you can see the advantages of kind of building this in advance. So I'd be coming down here. Let's see, I would be starting here, a line, and that's going to be 10 feet dash 2. I'm not sure how much I want to make this video. I just don't want, and this is coming down 10 feet. So I would come here, draw, multi-line, justification. This is on the top is to the left, bottom is to the right. Let's see if that, oh, so you can see I went the wrong way. So we would go justification left, top. And then we would find that line, come down, and this is coming down 10 feet. Dash 7. Okay, and then enter, and then I'm going to make that door. So the door is going to be 2 feet 8 inches. So I'm going to make it on the inside because I'm going to rotate it. So that's going to come down 2 feet dash 8. Enter. And so what I wanted to show you was this. You can actually then take this, and you should be able to you can drag it and move it, which is what I'm doing right here. So right, so there it is. And so let's go ahead and rotate this door right here. I'll go ahead and type in rotate, ROTATE. ATE, enter, select this. Typically they're like 30 degrees. So I want to go 30 degrees because it's going counterclockwise. I just type 30. And then what you can do is arc 3-point, and you can just eyeball it the best you can. Right? And so let's measure that. So far, so good. And then I'll go ahead and we'll do, we'll make the T so we know how that works. All right. So then what we want to do is, let's go ahead. We obviously, this is not what we want. Now, some people might say, well, you know, you can just trim it. It doesn't work that way because once you'd have to explode it and then trim it, and then you can't really adjust the walls. So the way you do it is you go to Modify, Object, Multi-Line. That's right. Okay, and then you'll see this window that comes up. Some versions work better than others, believe it or not. Sometimes you just have to click until you can't click anymore. Let's see what happens here. And there it goes, first time, very good. And all right, so you can see sometimes they go really quickly and sometimes I find myself just clicking until it goes, and there we go. So, you know, that is the essence of this project. You know, you have to do math in your, well, not necessarily in your head, but you've got to do math. You need to put the windows in. So let's just do one vertical window, and then we'll stop it there. So what I might do then is, it shows here it's 5'6" up. So probably the easiest thing to do, honestly, is just build this construction line, and I'll just start at this point, go up 5 feet - 6 inches. Enter, and then I would take my, I need to group this actually, GROUP. I don't know how I ungrouped it. All right, and then I'll just copy this, Control C, Control V, type M to move it. And because my snap settings are so, I should be able to just move this and snap it right on that line there. And there it is. And so let's just verify that with my dimensions. It should be 5 feet - 6 inches to the center. Voila. Okay. And then dimension that window. Then we'll back this off if we're trying to copy what our textbook is doing. Okay, so that's basically as much as I think I need to do here. I think everybody should get the idea of how this works. You know, these are not the quickest projects, but it actually saves a lot of time using the multi-line tool as trying to do this entire thing with the offset. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording for this version. And obviously you want to save your work and such. So